Hello there, welcome once again to Living on Purpose. This is Fola Daniel Speaks. Today, I'm going to be talking about how mindset is formed. I explained recently that mindset is what has set into your mind. So it's important to take it further and talk about how mindset is formed so that we can become a bit more conscious about the formation or reformation of our mindset. If we don't understand or realize how it is formed, then we will not understand what needs to change. A major way that mindset is formed is from our environment. Where a person is born will determine to a large extent the belief system of that person. When someone is born into a society, the person will take on the culture, the values, the social norms, or the acceptable societal norms in that environment. So you can have two people, for example, and we have seen quite a number of movies trying to help us understand the fact that if two people born on the same day are raised in two different environments, they are going to behave differently. Now, they share the same DNA, but if they are raised by different people, exposed to different cultures and societal values, they will definitely behave differently. That is the first proof that environment determines our mindset. So even though you are a set of twins, one is raised, for example, in Nigeria and the other is raised in America, one is going to think like a Nigerian, the other is going to think like an American. If one is raised in Brazil and the other is raised in France, one will think like a Brazilian, the other will think like a French person. So you need to understand that your place of birth, your environment, the places that you live in subconsciously will come into your mind even as an adult. If you're a young person, it's a lot worse because your formative years, you simply take on everything you say in that environment. So the first way that mindset is formed is the environment that you are born into or the environment that you live in. On a daily basis, everything in your environment is actually forming a part of your mindset. The limitation in your environment is also becoming a part of your mindset. The exposure in your environment will become a part of your mindset. When you see things happening in your environment, as far as you're concerned, it may look like the best wonders of the world. Without technology, if you don't know what is going on in other parts of the world, you may never have an open mindset. But despite the presence of technology today, your immediate environment still plays a major role in how you think, how you talk, the things that you believe, and how you treat other people. For some people, their environment have the right set of belief systems, so they are okay. But some other people are born into some environments where the belief system, the values, the cultures are actually weird. So you need to check or try to reprogram your belief system. You notice that when people travel abroad, they talk about culture shock. And the reason they talk about culture shock is because they are seeing things that they have never seen before, and they are seeing it for the first time. Even if they have heard about it before, now it's becoming a reality. It's more real to them. So it tells you that this thing is strange to the culture that I am coming from, but it is a normal thing in this culture that I have now been exposed to. So your environment is a major way that your culture or your mindset is formed. Now, the second way that your mindset is formed is the information that you take in, which is why people who are public speakers or motivational speakers have consistently said over the years that you will not be different 10 years from now from what you are, except for two things: the books that you read and the people that you meet. Information will primarily determine what you do, what you say, or who you become. Apart from your environment, which sets certain things into your mind, once you come in contact with certain information, the information can successfully reprogram you to be a bit different from what your environment has programmed you to be. Here's a problem. If what your environment is showing to you is the same as what information you're getting on a daily basis, you are not going to be better than that environment. But if you're coming from an environment and you expose yourself to superior information compared to your environment, you can become better than that environment. You can begin to aspire to much more than what you are seeing in your environment, which is why it's very important to always expose yourself to information beyond your environment. If you don't expose yourself to quality information, which is also beyond your environment, you're going to assume that you know it all until you meet people from different parts of the world. So, two major ways that I've said that our mindsets are formed. The first is the environment, the second is the information. Now, when we are born, we really do not have a choice regarding the environment because our parents choose that, or some other circumstances of our birth would determine the environment that we are born into. But as you begin to grow, you now have a choice. That's where you determine the kind of information that you are consuming, or you sieve the information that you are consuming. So while your environment may not be your fault, the information that you are consuming is definitely your responsibility. Even when you become an adult, your environment is no longer the fault of your parents, because you now choose where you want to live or where you don't want to live. You now choose the country you want to stay in or the country you don't want to stay in. So it is only a child that can say, I can't be blamed for my environment. But once you become an adult, the environment you're in and what you consume from that environment, plus the information that you're exposed to, is absolutely your responsibility. From today, take absolute responsibility for what comes into you from your environment and the information you consciously consume. Unfortunately, today on social media, people just consume anything and everything. And what you don't realize is that as much as you continue to consume anything and everything, you are beginning to form a mindset. So don't let the wrong thing set into your mind. Now you know. I hope that you even knew before, but now you have been reminded of how your mindset is formed. So choose your environment consciously, or choose the things from your environment that affect you and form your mindset. And more importantly, be more conscious, be more deliberate about the information that you expose yourself to. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Thank you for listening. Please head on now to youtube.com/Fola Daniel Speaks.